What's up guys, Kyle here again, and today we're gonna check out my live rig for my band, Human Animal. Ha! Let's do it! Alright guys, hope you're doing great out there today. If this is your first time here at my channel, my name is Kyle, and what I do is I take awesome high gain amps, guitars, cabs, speakers, pickups, I hide behind this weird white pole, and I give you guys the unprocessed audio on your end. So if you're into East End or thrash riffs, drop C hardcore riffs, and dudes who sometimes forget to turn their cameras on before they start filming, you're in the right place. There we go. Consider hitting the like button and subscribing on the way out so you don't miss any more of my stuff. Thanks! Alright guys, so today I thought I would throw together a fun little video on my live guitar rig for my band, Human Animal. Now a lot of you guys are familiar with my band Bushido Code, which is more of a thrash crossover style band, and that is mainly the style that I play here on this channel. But I am also in a hardcore band called Human Animal, and this band is kind of more of a New York hardcore, a little bit more punk influenced style band. They get their name from a Biohazard song, if that tells you anything. So the styles are pretty different. The band tunes to D standard as well, so I basically have a totally different rig for this band than I would use for Bushido Code. And I love that because it makes things fun. It gives me an excuse to try out different tones, different styles of pickups and overdrives and everything, but I tend to keep things a little bit in the area of familiarity, but yeah. It's just different enough that I try to dial in a very different tone for this band than I would for Bushido Code, as it's a little bit more focused on the guitars just kind of being full and gainy and big without being muddy. So my other guitarist in the band, Adam, uses a Rev E dual rectifier and a 5150, the PV signature version. So he has a massive sounding rig, and if I'm not using something equally as massive, it's easy to get buried by that rig. So since we have a couple of shows coming up within the next couple of weeks, I figured why not show you guys my live rig, run you through my setup, why I chose what I chose, and give you some sound samples. Starting off with the guitar, it's no surprise that I am going to use my Gallagher Typhon because this has just become my absolute favorite guitar to play pretty much no matter what. When I got this guitar, it had the Gallagher Hypernova pickups in the neck and the bridge. I swapped the bridge pickup out with a Seymour Duncan distortion because I wanted something that sounded a little bit more traditional, because I was using this band to record an upcoming release from Human Animal, and I wanted something that was voiced a little bit more for punk rock and rock and roll. So the Duncan distortion definitely fits that role for me, and I think I'm pretty much just gonna leave it here because I really like how it sounds in this guitar. My backup guitar will be my other Gallagher Typhon that is off screen. I'll give you guys a little B-roll shot of that, but it currently still has the Hypernova pickups in it. I have another Duncan distortion sitting around that I'm going to throw in that guitar just to keep things even. In case anything happens during the show, I can swap it out and won't really have to do anything to adjust for it. So yeah, this guitar is a mahogany body with a maple neck. Both guitars have a set neck. We've got the locking tuners on here. They both have a 25.5-inch scale with ebony board and stainless steel frets. So they are pretty much, for all intents and purposes, the same guitar. The only difference is the white Typhon has the body bevels, and this one has a traditional flat top on it. But yeah, it's basically gonna be pretty similar to most Gibson Explorers. Gibson Explorers typically have mahogany necks, but these ones have maple, and that combined with the stainless steel frets and the slightly longer scale just makes it sound a little snappier, a little brighter, a little clearer overall, and I absolutely love these guitars. So easy choice for me to pick these things whenever we go out. Next up on my pedal board, I'm gonna direct you down here to my pedal board. So starting off in the very beginning, we have the Peterson Strobo Stomp HD, by far and away my favorite tuner that I have ever used. My TU3 was starting to give me issues slightly before Bushido Code went on tour last year, and I took suggestions on Facebook of what tuner to get, and it was almost unanimous that the Peterson Strobo Stomp HD was pretty much the tuner to have, and I couldn't agree more. I now have a couple different tuners, and this one is still by far my favorite. Super accurate, super fast, and I really dig it. Next, we go to the Digitech drop pedal. I am not actually in D standard on the guitar. I am using the Digitech drop pedal in order to drop myself a step into D standard. If I turn it off, so even though on my tuner I'll tune to E standard, I will still be in drop D once I hit this Digitech drop pedal. And as long as you're going just one step down, there really is like no latency. You would have to be extremely in tune with your entire rig in order to notice anything from this thing, unless you're going more than a step down. I notice 1.5 steps is where I start to maybe notice just a little bit, and then the further you go, there's more latency. But I am lazy. I really like having all my guitars in E standard because that's primarily where I play. So even though I tend to play in D standard or drop C for my other hardcore bands that I am in, the drop pedal really makes it easy to just click that pedal on, and now every guitar I can leave in E standard if I want to, and I can immediately drop it down to the tuning that I need without having to completely reset up, restring a guitar, and that is completely invaluable to me because now all my guitars are ready to go at any point, so I love that. Next up, I am using a simple Boss SD1 Overdrive. You guys probably thought that I would be using the Deadwell Duality, and even though I really like that drive and I would have no problem substituting for the SD1, the SD1 just has an effect on the Mezzabarba Trinity that I absolutely love. It really tightens the low end up just right. It adds aggressive mid frequencies right where I like them, and I really just have kind of fallen in love with the SD1 all over again recently. So it's been on my board quite a bit for different stuff. Absolutely no complaints for a $50 Overdrive. You absolutely couldn't ask for more, and the SD1 still beats out some more expensive drives that I have tried and played for certain situations, and that's why it's on my board right now for this band. Now, for the next piece, we have the Deadwell Audio Golem, and right now I'm just using it as a simple gate. You can hook this up for cable method, so you can either put like the drop pedal and the SD1 in the loop, which I'll probably do after this video. I kind of threw this pedal board together real quick because it was in pieces because I use some of these pedals for my videos. But the Golem gate is just extremely fast, extremely accurate, especially when you have stuff in the loop of the pedal and then you use it to gate the front of the amp as well. It just quiets everything down super, super well, and honestly is the best gate that I have used. I don't care about gates really all that much. I was an ISP decimator guy for a long time, set it and forget it, but this gate was so good that I went ahead, sold my other gates, and I bought 2 of these, and now pretty much anytime I play live, if I'm not using the Duality, that is on my board. Not pretty much anytime. Anytime I play live without my Duality, that is on the board. And finally, you guys have asked me a whole bunch what pedal I use for swapping amps. Well, here it is. It is the Twin City ABY amp switcher. This is the Bones pedal. This one requires a power supply. This has the 180-degree phase, and it has the ground lift, which in my opinion are absolutely essential for pairing 2 amps together, especially in the same cab, because you can pretty much negate any phasing issues that you may have. Some amps work together and they don't phase in the same cab, but most you end up having a phasing issue, and you can just flip that switch and all is good. And it also has a ground lift. When you turn it off, there's your ground issue. Boom, you flip it up, no more ground issue, everything's nice and quiet. So really great ABY pedal, and anytime anybody asks me what pedal I'm using, I have no problem recommending this because this one works fantastic. On to the amplifiers. Up top here, we have the EVH 5150 Stealth 50 watt. You guys know I love my 5150s. You guys know that I love the 50 watt 5153s a lot. I tend to gravitate towards the normal 6L6 version most of the time, but the Mezzabarba has a lot of mid-range, so I kind of wanted something that had slightly more of a modern voicing, slightly more low-end punch, and the EVH 5150 Stealth is that all day long. Very modern voiced amp. Really dig the way that this thing sounds in conjunction with the Mezzabarba, and I really love the way that it sounds on its own. And we are running this on channel 3 with the red. Now in the preamp section of this amp, I removed one of the 12AX7s. I can't remember which one off the bat. I think it's the furthest one to the right if you're looking at the amp straight on, and I put a 12 AT7 in that spot, and it has really kind of tamed the gain on the red channel a little bit and opened the amp up just a little bit. Not a huge difference, but it definitely did make a difference that I appreciated. Now, down here we have what has become one of my favorite amps to plug into on pretty much any occasion, and that is the Mezzabarba Trinity. We are running this on channel number 3. Now, of course, you guys can't see my settings in the back, but the presence and the depth are both turned up to about 2 o'clock on the dial. The negative feedback is straight up. That negative feedback gives you a little bit more aggression if you want it. But with these two amps paired together, it kind of boosts the high end a little bit, so I can leave that right at noon, and it kind of leaves the amp in a smooth setting. This amp is pretty much everything I wanted my SLO 100 to be. It's got the same general voicing, but it gives more of an upper mid snarl, and the low end is a little bit tighter. This thing has harmonic content and clarity for days, and is just a beautiful sounding amplifier. And I love it. So these two amps are going into my oldest piece of gear. I've had this gear longer than anything else. I've had this cab for 12 years now. This is my Mesa 412 straight slant oversized rectifier cab. Now, I actually at the moment still have the two DV77s in it that I put in for my DV77 video, and the Mezzabarba is going into the DV77 speakers, and on the other side, the EVH is going into the stock UK V30s. So each amp has its own individual dedicated speaker. I'm not sure that I'm gonna leave it like that. I'll probably put the vintage 30s back in and throw the DV77s in a EVH 212 so I can use those independently. But for now, I'm really liking the sounds that I'm getting here in the room, so we're gonna leave them as is. I think it sounds great when you can dial the individual amplifier to each individual speaker, because I have them wired left and right per the jacks in the back. And yeah, it's a lot of fun, and the rig, in my opinion, sounds really good. So I'm gonna play a couple riffs and just kind of showcase the tones. I'll show you the individual amps. I will show you the overdrive on and off, and yeah, just give you a little taste of the tones that I'm going for. So as you guys can probably tell, this is definitely a thicker and a more low mid heavy tone than I would go for in a lot of my videos. And that's just because Adam kind of goes for something definitely more guttural, not as bright as I typically go for with the thrash stuff. And he just likes a really full sounding guitar tone. So if I were to go for something super bright and tight, it wouldn't really work all that well in conjunction with his, because there's just too much of a contrast there. So I've kind of dialed my tone back in the brightness and the mids just a little bit. That way our tones don't clash and they really kind of complement each other. So that is why it is a good bit darker. So right now I'm gonna show you the individual amps. We're gonna start with the Mezzabarba first. And now the EVH. So those are the two amps on their own, and then again together. Man, they sound really good together. Here is the rig with the SD1 off, so you guys can see what the SD1 does to the tone. that sounds really good. I'm really happy with how I have it dialed in right now. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this video, guys. That is the full on rig, not rundown. That is my live rig for Human Animal. What did you guys think? What do you guys think of the tone? Let me know on your end. How did it sound coming through these two SM57s on each individual speaker? Do you like it? Do you hate it? Let me know down in the comments. I'm sure you will. Either way, I'll meet you guys down there to chat about it. If you like what I do here and this is your first time at my channel, it'd be kind of a weird video to start on, but hey, glad to have you. Hit the like button and consider subscribing so you don't miss any more of my stuff. And if you want to support the channel and what it is I do here, down in the description of this video are all my affiliate links. My affiliate links from Eargasm, my affiliate links from DistroKid, and most importantly, my Sweetwater affiliate link. Because if you guys click that Sweetwater affiliate link and buy anything at all, I get a kickback and it costs you nothing extra. And it really helps my channel move forward, so I really appreciate it. And thank you if you've already done it. Or you can consider adding your name to this list of fine people by joining my Patreon community and supporting the channel that way. I'll love you forever, whether you want me to or not. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Kyle here again. We'll see you next time.